everyone. Welcome to Sam's Summaries. This episode is a deep dive discussion into Sam Fury's summary of the book Opening Doors by Reggie Nelson. It has been created with the help of AI. You can read the original summary at samfury.com.
All right, so today we're going deep on a pretty amazing story, I gotta say. We're going to be taking a look at Opening Door, this book by Reggie Nelson.
Okay.
And, you know, at first glance, you might be thinking, okay, another inspirational autobiography.
Right.
But trust me, this one, it's different. This is
Yeah.
a guy who went from seriously tough beginnings, I mean, real hardship, to working with the UK Prime Minister.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Mhm.
The way his early life, the poverty, even violence, it really shaped him.
Yeah.
But instead of holding him back, it kind of fueled his ambition.
It's like he used it to his advantage.
Exactly. It's like turning lemons into lemonade.
Totally. But even with that drive, his school years weren't easy.
Right.
The book talks about the bullying he dealt with and struggling in school. It makes you think, like, what was the turning point?
Well, there's this story. When he's a teenager, he starts this little business.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't anything major, but it shows his entrepreneurial side, like that hustle, even when things were tough.
He was a go-getter even then.
Exactly. And I think that's important because you see that same spirit later on when he's facing career challenges.
So true. It's like he always had that drive to figure things out.
It's not just about wanting a better life. It's about taking control, seeking out good influences.
Right. It's being proactive.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
for Reggie, faith played a big part in that.
Absolutely. But then life throws him a curveball, the sudden loss of his dad.
Oh, yeah?
It's just raw emotion. You feel it.
Yeah.
And it made me wonder, how do you even begin to cope after something that devastating?
It's a reminder that even when you're doing well, grief can hit you hard.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is how this tragedy, it almost fuels his ambition.
Yeah.
Even more. It's like he wants to make his father proud.
That really comes through in the book. And speaking of drive, let's talk about Reggie's trip to Kensington in Chapter 9.
Oh, yeah. That's a wild one.
I mean, who just shows up in one of the wealthiest areas in London and starts knocking on doors asking for advice?
Right. Bold move.
It's unbelievable.
But the thing is, it worked. He got rejected a lot, but the fact that he even tried says a lot about his persistence.
And it paid off in a big way.
Exactly. He ends up meeting this businessman who becomes his mentor.
Yeah, the $1 trillion powerhouse. What a chapter title.
Right.
This is where the power of mentorship really shines through. You know, having someone who believes in you and guides you, especially coming from a background like Reggie's, it can change everything.
It's so true. Mentorship is often overlooked, but it can be transformative. Just think about it. How many of us have had someone who pushed us to be better, who opened doors we didn't even know existed?
Yeah, like a secret weapon, a guide through life's maze.
Exactly.
And the book doesn't shy away from the hard parts either.
Right.
Reggie goes through university internships, even faces setbacks like that rejection in Chapter 18, Plan B.
Yeah, and that's what makes his story so relatable. It's not always easy. He faces challenges head on, learns from them, and keeps going.
It shows that resilience isn't about avoiding setbacks, it's about bouncing back from them.
Exactly.
And then things take another turn. Chapter 20, going viral. This is where things really take off for Reggie in a way he never expected.
Right. It all started with him just sharing his story.
And it just blew up.
It's amazing how powerful sharing your experiences can be. You never know the impact it can have. Reggie's story resonated with people far beyond his immediate circle. Opened doors he never imagined, just from being vulnerable and sharing his truth.
So true. It's like one person's story can create this ripple effect. And from there, things get even more surreal. Interactions with high-profile people, even the UK Prime Minister. It's almost like a dream.
It shows you what can happen when you seize opportunities and really use your experiences.
Yeah, it's like he created his own path brick by brick and ended up in places he never thought possible.
Exactly.
And that unexpected path even led him to politics.
Right. In Chapter 23, Making Voices Heard, he's participating in a leadership program at Oxford. It shows his dedication to growth,
Yeah.
and using his platform to make a difference.
It's inspiring. It makes you think, what could happen if we all stepped outside our comfort zones and embraced those unexpected opportunities?
It's about being open to possibilities.
Absolutely. It's kind of wild how we go from these really personal parts of his story, like dealing with grief and figuring himself out, to like meeting the UK Prime Minister.
It all makes sense.
He's putting himself out there and making connections, and those connections lead to these crazy opportunities. It makes you wonder, are we closing doors in our own lives because we don't think those kinds of things are possible?
It's so easy to limit ourselves without even realizing it.
Totally. It's like he stumbled onto a secret level in a video game.
I like that analogy.
And this secret level takes him to the world of politics, which is crazy because it wasn't even on his radar at first.
Yeah, it was never part of the plan.
It's like he's constantly trying to reach his full potential.
It's inspiring.
So inspiring. But let's circle back to mentorship for a second.
Okay.
It's a major theme throughout the book.
Yeah.
He's not just benefiting from it, he's actively embracing it.
Absolutely.
In chapter 24, The Power of Mentoring, he goes deep.
Yeah.
He's not just saying mentorship is good, he's giving practical advice.
Right, he's breaking it down.
He's like laying out a plan for how to build these meaningful mentor relationships. It's awesome.
He's empowering others to create their own success stories.
And then in the last chapter, he looks back at the whole journey.
Yeah, it's a nice way to wrap things up.
He talks about the lessons he's learned and how he's giving back now.
It's a good reminder that success isn't just about reaching your goals, it's also about making a positive impact.
I agree. And that's where this book goes beyond the usual self-help stuff. It's not just about individual achievement. It's about recognizing those systemic barriers that hold people back.
Right, like the things that make it harder for certain people to succeed.
He's not afraid to talk about those tough realities.
And that's where opening doors gets even deeper.
Yeah.
It's not just about Reggie opening doors for himself. It's about challenging the systems that keep those doors closed for others.
It's about creating real change.
Exactly. It's about fighting for equality and opportunity for everyone.
No matter where they come from.
Exactly.
It makes you think about what we can do to create a fairer world.
It's a call to action.
So what are the big takeaways here?
Well, first off, I think it reinforces something really important, believing in yourself, even when it feels like no one else does.
Yeah, never give up on yourself.
But it's not enough to just believe. You got to act on it.
Take action.
Find mentors. Build a network. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. And sometimes the most unexpected paths lead to the best places.
That's a great point. Sometimes you got to get lost to find your way.
It's about embracing the unknown.
But it's also important to recognize those systemic barriers we talked about.
Absolutely.
We can't just celebrate individual success without addressing those underlying issues that prevent so many people from reaching their full potential.
It's about creating a level playing field.
Exactly. So it's not just about cheering for the people who make it through. It's about asking, why are those doors closed for so many others?
And what can we do to open them?
Right. It's about being more than just passive observers. It's
Yeah.
about actively working to create a world where everyone has a fair shot at success.
And that can look like a lot of things. It could be mentorship, advocacy, or just speaking up against injustice.
Using your voice.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we all have a role to play.
I think Reggie's story also highlights the power of storytelling.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It resonated with so many people because it's real, it's vulnerable, and it's relatable.
It makes you feel less alone in your struggles.
And it shows that our stories matter.
They have the power to connect us, to inspire us, and to spark change.
It's about building empathy and understanding. Now, I know we've covered a ton, but I'm curious what resonated most with you personally. Was there anything that really stood out or made you think?
You know what stuck with me was how honest he was about the ups and downs.
The highs and lows, the self-doubt, even the anger and frustration he felt after his dad passed away.
It's raw and real.
It makes you realize that even someone who achieves incredible success still goes through those human struggles.
Makes it feel more attainable for the rest of us.
Exactly. Like it's not this impossible standard.
Sometimes these inspirational stories can feel too perfect.
Right. Like who can relate to that?
But Reggie's story is a reminder that even when you're going through those tough emotions, you can still find the strength to keep going.
And that's where storytelling comes in.
Yeah.
By sharing those hard parts, he makes it okay to feel those things. It's like he's saying, hey, I went through this, you can too.
It's normalizing the human experience.
Exactly. And that's so powerful, especially for people who might be going through similar challenges.
Absolutely. It makes you feel less alone.
For sure.
And it brings me to a question I've been thinking about throughout this whole deep dive. What's one door you've been hesitant to open in your own life? What would it take for you to step through it?
Wow. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's the door of creative expression.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, I've always loved writing, but I've let fear and self-doubt hold me back.
That's surprising to hear because you're so articulate and insightful in our conversations.
Thanks. But I still have those voices in my head, you know?
I get it.
It's that fear of putting myself out there, of being judged or rejected, and also feeling like I don't have anything unique to say.
But everyone has a unique story to tell.
That's true. And Reggie's story reminds us that even the most ordinary experiences can be extraordinary when they're shared authentically.
It's all about perspective.
Yeah. And I think what's holding me back is focusing on the outcome instead of the process.
You're thinking too far ahead.
Exactly. Reggie didn't start out trying to be a best-selling author or a political influencer. He just followed his passions and took action, even when he didn't know where it would lead.
And it took him to amazing places.
It did.
That's a great lesson for everyone. To focus on the journey, embrace the uncertainty, and trust that the right doors will open along the way.
It's about surrendering to the process.
But it takes courage to actually step through those doors, especially when you're facing your fears.
It does. And that's where having a community comes in.
Having people who support you.
Exactly. People who believe in you and encourage you to chase those passions. It can make all the difference.
Like having a cheering section on the sidelines.
And sometimes just having someone to talk to about those fears and doubts can make them feel less scary.
It's about recognizing that we don't have to do it all alone.
Exactly. And that's something Reggie talks about a lot in the book, the importance of mentors, friends, family who were there for him.
It takes a village.
It does. We all need each other to achieve our full potential.
So true. Speaking of achieving potential, what do you think is the most empowering message Reggie's story gives?
I think it's that we all have the power to create our own destinies. It doesn't matter where you come from or what obstacles you face. You have the ability to choose your path and make a difference in the world.
That's powerful.
And his story proves it's possible.
And it's a reminder that success isn't always a straight line.
Oh, definitely.
There will be setbacks, detours, unexpected turns. But it's how we handle those challenges that really defines us.
It's about resilience and adaptability.
And never giving up.
Exactly. And sometimes the greatest opportunities come from the most unexpected places.
Yeah, it's like the universe has a plan, even when we can't see it.
So trust the process.
Trust the process.
Never underestimate the power you have to shape your own destiny. Embrace the journey. Learn from your experiences and never give up on your dreams. You can achieve incredible things and make a positive impact on the world.
Beautifully said. I think Reggie's story is the perfect blueprint for how to do that.
It is.
It's a reminder that we all have a story to tell, and by sharing our stories, we can inspire others and create a more connected and compassionate world.
I love it.
Opening Doors is more than just a book. It's a movement. It's a call to action, to embrace our potential and create a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. Well, I'm feeling super inspired after this deep dive.
Me too.
Reggie's journey is a testament to the power of the human spirit and a reminder that we all have the ability to create extraordinary lives. You know, thinking back to that trip to Kensington thing, it would be easy to just be like, wow, that took guts.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just some desperate move. It was more than that.
It really was. It's like all those experiences that came before,
Yeah.
the tough childhood, the entrepreneurial stuff, even that moment in chapter 4 where he decides to change his life.
It all built up to that.
It all led to this bold move that opened up so many possibilities.
Like preparation meeting opportunity.
Right. It wasn't just luck. He was ready for that chance.
So true. But even with all the advice and tips he gives in the book, what really stood out to you personally?
Honestly, it was how open he was about the emotional ups and downs.
The roller coaster.
Yeah. The good times, the bad times, the self-doubt, even the anger and frustration he felt after losing his dad. It just shows you. Even someone who achieves incredible success, they still go through all those human struggles.
It makes the whole journey relatable.
It does. It makes it feel possible for the rest of us.
Because sometimes those inspirational stories feel kind of fake.
Right. Like too good to be true.
Exactly. But Reggie's story shows that even when you're dealing with all those tough emotions, you can still find a way to move forward.
And that's the power of storytelling.
Yeah.
By sharing those hard parts, he helps us feel okay about feeling those things.
It's normalizing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that can be so powerful for people who are going through something similar.
For sure. It makes you feel less alone.
It does.
It makes me think about a question I've been wondering this whole time. What's one door you've been hesitant to open in your own life? What would it take for you to go through it?
That's a tough one. I think for me, it's the door of creative expression.
Oh, interesting.
I've always loved writing, but I've let fear and self-doubt stop me.
That's surprising. You're so articulate and insightful in our conversations.
Well, thank you. But I still struggle with those inner critics, you know.
I feel that.
It's the fear of putting myself out there, being judged, and also feeling like I don't have anything unique to say.
But everyone's story is unique.
You're right.
Yeah.
And Reggie reminds us that even ordinary experiences can become extraordinary when shared authentically.
It's all about how you tell it.
Yeah. And I think what holds me back is focusing too much on the outcome instead of the process.
The what ifs.
Yeah. Reggie didn't set out to be a best-selling author or a political influencer. He just followed his heart and took action even when he didn't know what would happen.
And look where it took him.
It's amazing.
That's such a good lesson for everyone. Focus on the journey. Embrace the unknown and trust that the right things will happen.
Let go of the need to control everything.
But it takes courage to actually take those steps, especially when you're facing your fears.
It does. And that's where having a support system is so important.
People who believe in you.
Exactly. People who cheer you on and encourage you to follow your passions.
Your own personal cheer squad.
And sometimes just talking about those fears with someone can make them feel smaller.
Sharing the burden.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's realizing you don't have to go through it alone. And Reggie talks about that a lot in the book, the importance of having people there for him. Mentors, friends, family.
It really does take a village.
It does. We need each other to reach our full potential.
So true.
We all have the power to create our own destinies. It doesn't matter where you start or what obstacles you face, you can choose your path and make a difference in the world. And Reggie's story shows us that it's possible.
Absolutely. And it's not always going to be easy.
Oh no, definitely not.
There will be setbacks and challenges, but it's how we deal with those things that really matters.
It's about bouncing back and adapting.
Never giving up.
Exactly. And sometimes the greatest opportunities come when we least expect them.
It's like the universe has a sense of humor.
So stay open to possibilities. Never underestimate your own power. You have the power to shape your own destiny. Embrace the journey, learn from your experiences, and never give up on your dreams. You can achieve amazing things and make a positive impact on the world.
I love that. And I think Reggie's story gives us the perfect guide for how to do that.
It does?
It reminds us that we all have a story to tell, and by sharing our stories, we can inspire others and create a more connected and compassionate world.
So True Opening Doors is more than just a book. It's a call to action to embrace our potential and create a world where everyone can thrive.
Well, I'm walking away from this feeling super inspired.
Me too.
Reggie's journey is a testament to the power of the human spirit and proof that we all have the ability to create extraordinary lives.
Couldn't agree more.
And to our listener, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into opening doors. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring.
We had a great time talking about it.
And remember, you have the power to open doors, create your own path, and make a difference in the world.
Keep on keeping on.
Thanks for tuning in to Sam's Summaries. If you found this episode useful, let us know with a like, follow, and share. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to visit samfury.com to get free access to all of Sam's original summaries, which you can download as PDFs, as well as other exclusive content. It's all completely free at samfury.com.